Hi there, my name is Brenda Jennings and I am with the Criminal Justice Department here at Metro Community College. And I just wanted to go over a few things with you in regards to our criminal justice program. Enjoy, and if you have any questions, of course, you can email any of us three, myself, Brenda Jennings, my colleague Brenda Smith, or the director of the program, Diane Suits. My email is bkjennings@mccneb.edu. So I'm going to start off with first just talking about the three of us, our team here at Metro, our amazing team, our full-time faculty at the Elkhorn Valley campus, and our program director for our program is the gal on the left here, Diane Suits, and she was former chief probation officer for many, many years. Brenda Smith, who's to the right of me in the picture, is also full-time faculty. She is with myself at the South Campus, and she was actually former chief deputy at the Omaha Police Department for many years. And then myself, I'm in the middle there, and I am current full-time faculty at South as well, and I'll be current online lead starting the fall of 2020. And I was a former probation officer and trainer with the Nebraska State Probation Department. So combined, we have over 75 years of professional career experience, not to mention all of our teaching experience, of course, which is many, many years as well. So just a quick overview of our criminal justice program. Our Metropolitan College Criminal Justice Program offers an associate's degree of applied science in criminal justice with corrections or law enforcement tracked options. So this degree prepares students to directly enter the workforce in a career field of their choice. Law enforcement, courts, corrections, there's so many different options when you look at criminal justice career. It also satisfies the requirement to transfer to a four-year institution where they offer a bachelor's degree, where you get ongoing bachelor's degree in criminal justice. And we'll talk about that later, a couple of those options locally here in the Omaha area that we partner with. Additionally, again, we partner with local and state law enforcement agencies. So upon completion of a post-accredited academy or the Nebraska Law Enforcement Training Center, students can receive up to 13.5 credit hours. Here's some former students of our program here that are represented by the Nebraska State Patrol, Omaha Police Department, and the Department of Corrections. So here's the option of our two programs, and we typically go over this with our students and as they're exploring their career choices with the tracks. They can change tracks while they're at the program if they decide, like I've had a student that started with law enforcement, was really interested in law enforcement until she learned about probation, and then she had switched early on to the corrections track. So we talked to them about, again, there's more options than this, but in the corrections tract, typically they start off with around $36,000 to $40,000 benefits. They can become a corrections officer, detention worker for working with youth. Again, something that myself and Diane Suits were, probation, or even a parole officer are some of the main choices there with that corrections tract. Law enforcement, of course, is more focused on our law enforcement pieces with State Patrol, locally our Omaha Police Department or Douglas County. Start off a little bit more, but again, those of you familiar with the benefits are amazing for both corrections and law enforcement when you work with the government agencies. So when you look at correction options as far as the bachelor's degree not being required, and many of our students maybe aren't quite ready to continue on as a bachelor. Not to say they might not come back to that later, but many just want to know, what can I do with an associate's degree? With corrections officers, you do not need a degree. It's not required. Law enforcement officers, again, when we go to law enforcement tract, also does not require any sort of degree, although we'll talk about the benefit for having a degree when you apply for those jobs. Youth treatment workers, they do like typically to have an associate's degree, and oftentimes many of these programs will also help pay for your continued education to have a bachelor's degree. Youth trackers, those are becoming more popular in the area to assist probation officers to track them at school, their homes, curfews, those things. So a lot of times these students that are interested in these types of career fields are better suited by getting their associate's degree, make them more marketable, and then start working. in the field. Most agencies, again, with certain requirements, will provide free college tuition. And, you know, who doesn't like free college tuition? It's a phenomenal idea. So we always say, let your work pay for your college. You know, it's just really the smart way to go financially. You're getting some, you know, you're getting the work experience, and you can apply it in the classroom, and then you're getting your college paid for. Again, corrections options that do require bachelor's degrees. A lot of times people don't know this going in, that want to be probation officers, but my former career as a probation officer does require you to have a bachelor's degree. Now, we do talk to our students that are interested in being probation officers about entry positions, such as drug technicians, assistant probation officers, those types of things that don't require your bachelor's degree. A lot of times they do require your associates to get their foot in the door and then keep working towards their program. And so with that, we usually either encourage two things, either to begin at the UNO transfer program, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, or maybe they want to look at being certified as alcohol drug counselor, and Metro has some programs for that as well. So the more probation is becoming specialized, they have many specializations with drug and alcohol counselors, licensed mental health practitioners, those things. Those are some degrees that they actually look for as well. Social worker, again, would require a bachelor's degree, and sometimes even an advanced master's degree. Again, we would refer them typically with the UNO transfer program that we have. If you want to be an attorney, we have some students that start off, they're undecided. Later on, they decide they really think that, you know, as we go through our criminal law course and different legal issues and corrections course, that they really want to make that impact by being an attorney. And so students that typically want or decide to be a lawyer should also, again, look at that UNO transfer program as well. It is pretty rigorous. So of course, we always want to make sure we're setting our students up for success with that. Some of the challenging jobs, a lot of times, and I think Hollywood has really, you know, made the CSI and those things really appealing. And those are all fun shows to watch. But those forensics jobs are really tough to get. And oftentimes they're actually not looking for the criminal justice background, but it's more the sciences. So they're typically looking for bachelor's or master's degree in chemistry or biology, particularly at the federal level. Federal agencies, a lot of times students come in, a great goal, they want to be FBI agent or CIA. Again, those are wonderful goals, and we don't discourage that, but we do show them the reality of the federal agencies. And oftentimes there's a couple of things that feds are looking for. Number one, military, former military. They definitely look highly on that. And or a master's degree in somewhat of accounting, chemistry, cybersecurity is a great emerging career field as well. And in my personal experience too, is at least a minimum of 3 to 5 years of working at a state job, again, with a minimum requirement of a bachelor's degree. So those federal jobs, again, are great goals, but they do take time, and we want students to realize that they do take quite a bit of time in order to earn even a interview typically with a federal agency. Although internships, we do encourage internships, and we do work closely with a lot of agency, federal, state, and local agencies with internships, which are also helpful. Some of the other challenging situations that we, again, are very transparent with our students. We have a wide variety of students that we serve and we love. And so it's important, though, that we don't direct our students into a certain career field that they, with maybe their background or different things that they may have, are never able to actually get a job in the field. So we talk to them about that. Students that have prior felony, particularly felony drugs, those can be very difficult in getting a job in the criminal justice field. Now, again, there's a lot of other contractors, there's a lot of other areas that we can branch out at that do, such as a drug and alcohol counselor, some social workers, some of those licensure programs, depending on how long it's been since you've used drugs. But if you have a felony on your record, you, by federal law, are not able to possess firearms. Therefore, you cannot be a law enforcement officer. Your hands are tied there. Now, being a criminal analyst, being someone that is a civilian that may contract with, eventually with those types of agencies, it's a possibility, but again, very, very slim to none. So we want to direct those students that do have felony drug offenses on their records to getting jobs again, or a certificate that's going to be more helpful in their career. If students have prior records that they've just made their climb much higher. So again, theft records are really felony theft. Those are really tough ones too. There are some prior, crimes, misdemeanors, things like that, that they will look past. Again, they always look at the situation, but felonies are one that they typically don't. Another one that we get a lot is if students are using marijuana. I actually had a former student of mine several years ago that really wanted to work in a detention facility with juveniles. And she hadn't told me that she had smoked pot a few months earlier. And when she went in to go interview, they were really interested in her. Really, she interviewed very, very well, put me down as a reference. Of course, she was a great student, spoke highly of her. But unfortunately, she could not have smoked marijuana for 3 years in order to even be considered for the job. There was just no budging on that. It used to be 5 years, some positions it still is. Even prior, it used to be 7 years prior to that. So they're slowly kind of going down with that. But students really need to understand if they're serious about a career in criminal justice, cannot be dedicated to continue to smoking pot. They have to be able to stop doing that. Same thing with, it's not on here, but just being really physically fit. I had a student about a year ago that passed all of the different levels to be a law enforcement officer, but just never trained for the physical fitness and just could not run that 1.5 miles in the time that was required. And so that's something, again, we really encourage and talk to students about is physical fitness in this field. Tattoos are typically okay. They've definitely eased up on this. Most of the time you see, police officers with, tattoos, no worries. Face tattoos aren't looked at the greatest. And then state patrol still here in Nebraska does not allow visible tattoos. So they're pretty strict on that. So going back with the law enforcement, there's some 3 main hiring agencies around here. Nebraska State Patrol is pretty much always hiring. OPD is a little bit more tough to get into. They kind of go in waves, but definitely not impossible. I think we have over, hundreds of students that have graduated our program over the years that, are law enforcement officers, and even several that are with Omaha Police Department. Douglas County, it's a little more challenging. It's not totally impossible, but again, it's a little more tough. So again, we really try to be honest with our students and tell them the reality of it. If our students aren't tied to the Omaha area and they're willing to move out west or even to another state, then those are going to be the most marketable. Get some experience and then come back to Omaha. We always say if you really want, to get a job pretty quickly. Again, no requirement as far as law enforcement for a degree. We have several students that actually are current Omaha Police Department officers or other area officers that come back to get their degrees, because you can only go so far in the level of sergeant and such, and if you want to go beyond that, you have to typically have a degree. Typically to be a detective, but not always as well. So there's just certain levels that you can still, perform your job without a degree, but oftentimes if they want to keep going up that hiring ladder, they come back, and get that degree. They do have to be 21. That's another thing. We have some young ones, that are 19, 20, that are really eager to get in that law enforcement. They do have to be 21 by the time they start the pre-service training, the academy. So, and start the job. So, sometimes if they're 20 and a half and they're applying, they should be fine by the time they get hired on, because it does take a little while for that hiring process. Again, going back to the drug issue, it's pretty solid 3 years for most places, no criminal record, and definitely no drug use. Harder drug use, and again, our law enforcement officers, they're going to be taking polygraphs. Most of these positions require polygraph tests. So, we always want them to be 100% honest and upfront. And then we encourage them to maybe work in other fields related to criminal justice or law enforcement before then they would look at applying to law enforcement. Brenda Smith, one of my colleagues, she mentions a lot, definitely don't want to lie. That polygraph will catch it. And if you lie it's one of the worst things. You've pretty much just sealed your fate that you will never get a job in law enforcement. That will get around. So we always are very honest with our students and say, be 100% honest. So then why get a law enforcement tracked associate's degree from Metro if you don't need one, right? So that's what a student might ask you. Well, these students don't have a chance if they can't interview well. Interviewing is everything. Academic testing is huge in law enforcement for any type of promotion. It's a lot about your communication skills, your knowledge, and your academic testing. And so it prepares them for that and opens those doors so they even have a chance, because it is a very competitive market out there. Law enforcement, again, is the most popular in the CJ program, but corrections is also extremely popular. So the Douglas County Jail or Douglas County Correction Center here in downtown Omaha, each time the Omaha Police Department has a big hiring, phase, they oftentimes pull several from that Department of Corrections there, or the Douglas County Jail. And so they do look at them as well. And so oftentimes they hire, and again, they look at our criminal justice students as well for that hiring piece. So it looks great on a resume, we always say, because they know we do such a great job preparing our students with our full-time staff, as well as we have amazing adjuncts as well in our criminal justice program that are currently in the field and helps the network. General studies degrees, we discourage that. And so that's one thing we talk to students about, we talk to the student services about as well. We've had several students that maybe just, they're just not sure, but we just really dissuade them from looking at general studies degree. A lot of times classes don't transfer in the criminal justice programs that they desire. And also a general studies associate's degree just really isn't going to help them get a criminal justice job. They want that specialization. It is a very niche type of degree that we prepare them for in our programs. And so administrators that we know and we connect with and we talk to, they want to see that criminal justice study of program. And again, it's because we've built such an amazing program at Metro, and they're confident that we've prepared them within our criminal justice classes day in, day out to be successful in that field. In addition to this, something I wanted to mention as well, and I mentioned to students and our student services, is that be careful of not having students or encouraging students to not take their field of study courses, particularly early on in their studies. What we find is that if a student takes let's say they get their gen eds out of the way, then they aren't taking their classes that they're really passionate about, they're more likely to drop out of school because they're not getting that fulfillment that they need. And so, I've had several students come to me and say, well, either my advisor kind of mentioned maybe just to get my gen eds out of the way, or my mom told me, or, I was just thinking I'd get that out of the way, then start my criminal justice classes and focus on them. No, when I go to some of those student orientations and things, I talk to students all the time about no. Take intro to criminal justice right away, your very first quarter. They'll love it. It touches on everything. Plus, it's a prerequisite for all the other courses. The other thing that we talk about later too, why we don't want to do that, is there are some courses that are only offered in our criminal justice program once a year. So if they don't, it's going to prolong potentially their graduation if we don't offer those criminal justice courses right up front, particularly those intro prerequisite courses that they need in order to take those other courses. So that's something that I think, again, is really important. That we're asking our students, what is your declared major? What is your focus? And explaining to them the difference and how that can affect them. So we usually locally here around the Omaha area, we have Bellevue University and UNO that we partner with. Of course, there's other universities as well that our students transfer to, but these are the two main ones. So Bellevue University offers mostly now the online criminal justice program. They didn't quite have enough. It's not to say they might not go back, but in their classroom. So they only offer now the online criminal justice continued bachelor program. Now they accept our full associates, so that is huge for many students. And I would say I have about half and half. I don't know what statistics show exactly. Diane Suits probably has that statistic, but the students I've worked with over the last couple of years, about half of them say, you know what, that online program that works for me, I'm just gonna, get the associates with Metro, and then I'm just gonna switch over and finish up, fully online at Bellevue. Some other students, that's not really, their learning style is not fully online. And that's another thing we talk early on to them, is their learning style. One of the things I do in my intro criminal justice classes is I actually give all of my students a personality assessment, because a part of that is I want to know how they learn. And also it helps me when I'm talking to them about their different courses, whether or not to look online or not, and their different career paths. So UNO, we do partner with UNO, and they offer both online and campus bachelor's programs. And again, we have a transfer program that's extremely formatted for, you know, the student, but it allows them to transfer if they want to earn their bachelor's degree kind of right from the beginning. So that's a dual agreement with them. And again, they accept most of our transfer credits as well. But if they get into that transfer program right away, then they're assured they're going to have a seamless path to getting their bachelor's degree. So again, why major in criminal justice? As at the left, you see our, again, beautiful director, Diane Suits, with two former graduates, 2007 and 2017 Metro grad. We love to just promote our graduates that are in the field that are doing amazing. We like to bring them in as speakers and mentors and things too. It's just really gets our students excited about the program. On the bottom, of course, we see again us three. You know, right now as I'm speaking, it's May 2020, a couple days before we were supposed to have our Baxter Arena graduation. And of course we understand why, but this picture was from last year's graduation where we were all three just so excited to watch our students walk down that aisle and get that diploma. And, you know, it's just, there's not a better feeling in the world. So with a criminal justice degree, you find yourself working typically in local, state, or federal law enforcement, or as a probation officer, or in our prisons and jails. Again, some of the most important people in our communities are working with this criminal justice. It's the most amazing, fulfilling job. I always talk about my 12 years as a probation officer and trainer, and later on I created my own company to train probation officers, law enforcement officers, those things, and it's just so fulfilling, and we share our passion and excitement with our students in the classroom every day as well. Sometimes they also decide to work with juveniles. A lot of our students, you know, maybe want to give back, or they've been through some things and they see this as a way then of giving back. And it's such a wonderful way to work with our juveniles in our community to get that criminal justice degree. Private security is another option. We have a lot of students. I have 3 students right now working for private security agencies as they're getting their degrees. Bank fraud, and again, they could attend to law school. That's something that many students look at as well. So there's never, one of the things is that we always say, there's never going to be a shortage of jobs in our fields. We're always going to be hiring. The Bureau of Labor Statistics actually shows a 4% growth rate between 2014 and 24, and 14% growth rate in social service treatment facility jobs. So criminal justice is a wonderful field. It's, you know, again, and we share our passion with our students. So our enrollment over all criminal justice programs has gone down a little bit, but we're back on track to going back up. We have seen a little bit of increase on our online, of course, right now during the pandemic, of course, you know, we're switching a few things to more remote learning and all of those things, and our students have just been wonderful. So we're doing a lot of things on our end too to continue to really promote our criminal justice program throughout, you know, the area as well. There's a few changes in the criminal justice schedule. So each year we get together and we look at the numbers, we reevaluate the numbers, we get together with our dean and you know, all of that, and we say, okay, what things do we need to do better? What things could we maybe adjust and change for our students' experience? And one of the things is, first thing, in addition to all the classes being available to our advisors and students on a yearly basis, we now decided to look at adding the yearly online classes. So that's new. Myself, I'll be the new online lead come fall 2020, and Diane Suits, the program director, have actually overhauled our entire online program and redid all of our courses. And I think you'll probably, if you haven't already, hear from our students that they really enjoy that. And we're actually very excited then for Canvas to be coming on board too, because both Diane and myself are somewhat familiar with Canvas, and it's very user friendly. So we've designed all of our courses, redesigned all of our courses on our online tracks as well, which again just increases the success of our students. And we find also some of our students that are kind of taking some classes online, some in the classroom, again, they're able to seamlessly do that now too. Also, in an effort to increase enrollment, we're only offering our track classes. So the non-required classes are offered frequently, but the track classes are going to be only offered one time per year. And this is extremely important that our students understand that, and our advisors and student services understand that when they're advising them. A lot of our students are self-advising and are trying to kind of get them away from that, particularly with criminal justice tracks, because it's so important that they get all their courses in the timeline that they would like to graduate in. We don't want to inhibit that by any means by having them wait, or we don't want someone who's dedicated to on-campus learning to have to be forced to take an online class just to graduate. So this is going to be one of the most important pieces that we relay to our students every quarter before registration. I'm always talking to my students in the classroom. For our law enforcement track classes, so these classes that are only offered once a year: police and society, police field services, community relations, criminal investigation, and intro to forensics. The corrections classes that are those track classes: correctional, intro to corrections, correctional facility, intro to probation. I'm sorry, I'm going to go back. Correctional client is the first word, not intro to corrections. Sorry. Correctional client, correctional facility, intro to probation, community-based corrections, and legal facilities. Okay, so those are the courses. Now we will be, it's kind of exciting for me because my background's really more criminology and sociologically based. So in 2021, we're going to be adding criminology. So we're still working on that. We'll announce that later, but in a year, we'll be releasing the criminology course as well. That will kind of be in the mix of those track classes. So some exciting things. Why, again, Metro Criminal Justice versus other schools? Well, first off, we offer small classrooms, which is so awesome, but we also offer some really cool, unique experiences. And I've worked at other universities, and you know, they're just a lot of times so big, they're not able to offer these types of experiences to our students. So one of the things we did, you see all of our trophies and our fun pictures. We actually travel each fall in October to a criminal justice competition through the American Criminal Justice Association. And our club is called Mu Gamma Gamma. That's our MCC's Criminal Justice Club. And these are our brightest students and our most motivated students, and they're fun too, that we pick, and we go for 3 days. It's a different location, different college every year. But last year, we went down to Missouri and, Kansas, and we competed with 7 universities from different regions. There's, you know, obviously we had several MCC students, and we won 21 total awards. Myself and Diane also get to compete, so we did pretty well too. You know, it's important that we can show our students that we also know what we're doing and talking about in class. So they were pretty proud of us, and we were extremely proud of our mutual student, Mia Peterson, there in the middle. She did fantastic and won the highest individual academic score. And she's not our first student to accomplish that. We've had others. Hannah Busa a couple years ago actually went nationals as well. So there's 4 categories: academics, where it's test taking. You take 3 different tests. Crime scene, that was really fun. There was 3 of us that were able to do that. We won. That's where we won our medals from. The firearms, this last year we didn't have any firearms competitors, but we have in the past. And then the physical agility, which is my personal favorite as a former college athlete. So I get, as the students and Diane saw, I get really competitive during the physical agility. So we did really well on that. And again, it's something just, not just fun, it's fun, but it also teaches those students something. And it's something these students with all these trophies and awards too, they can come away with feeling great about themselves, but also it's something that can translate into really a standout on their application and resume in their future careers. Something else that is extremely important to us is giving back to the community. And so we do service learning projects. It's built into several of our objectives and our coursework. On the left are my students there at the Stevens Center, which is right across the street from our South Campus. And so we went there and basically said, what do you need us to do for our service work? Because we do go there for tours and other things as well. And they had us clean all of their group rooms, and it took a couple hours, and the students did a phenomenal job. And, you know, again, they were really proud of themselves that they were giving back. On the right are Diane Suits students from the Elkhorn Valley campus, and I believe they're at Sienna Francis, and they go again each year, and we're help sorting clothes and different things too, and just an amazing way to show our students that we give back. So why Metro? We all know it's wonderful, but our response, why not? We have over 75 years of professional experience that students benefit every day from in the classroom, in addition to our amazing adjuncts, both online and in our classroom. And we are dedicated every single day. We work so hard, and our students know that in our classrooms. Our classes are small. We focus on critical thinking, not just memorization. And we're connecting and networking. We have speakers, which we'll talk about here in a minute as well, that come in. We care deeply about every single one of our students, not just the students that are the stars, but particularly the students that that we see are a little struggling. Maybe they don't come to class once or twice. I email them right away. It's like, wow, I've never had a teacher email me before or call me when I hadn't showed up for class. Just because you did that, it made me want to go into class every single day, right? Those are the ones that we really want, again, to encourage, as well as our stars, because each of our students, of course, are our star. And we always say it's the financially, fiscally smart decision. You know, Metro, a class 350, UNO 1050, it makes sense to me. Who doesn't like to save money, right? So we, again, continue to promote our program, and we have fun. Learning does not have to be boring. It doesn't have to be just like unbearable. It doesn't have to be super hard, although we push our students, but we get out of the classroom. We give them experiences. I was teaching criminal justice at a four-year university a few years back, and a senior level course, and I took my 30 students from that university out to a field trip, and they said, this is the first time we've been out of the classroom. Our students can't say that. Our students are outside of the classroom. My goal every single quarter is to get the students out of the classroom 1 to 2 times per class per quarter. Usually once is the goal, and then we bring our speakers in the other times. They do activities in the classroom. I mean, those are the things that make, again, for an extremely successful criminal justice, not only student, but person in the field and career. And then some other fun things we do, as you know, we rent a huge bus, and, you know, Metro is just phenomenal about helping us do this every year by taking our students, and this doesn't have to be select students, any student that registers, and it's like $20, I believe. We take them to, one year it's in Norfolk, where we have all the federal agencies and other universities and colleges come in, and they get to experience and speak with actual federal individuals that are in the field, federal criminal justice individuals. And then the off year, then we go to Grand Island to the actual academy, law enforcement academy, where most, other than Omaha Police Department, since they have their own academy here in Omaha, go. So a lot of our students will actually be out there then again when they apply through law enforcement agencies. And that is the state agencies are represented out there. And it's an all-day event. We leave usually very early in the morning, about 6 in the morning, and we get back around 6, 7 at night, and it is just phenomenal. So those are our amazing students that have attended with them over the year. So with that, if you can, hopefully this helped you kind of understand a little bit again of our program here at Metro. Thank you so much for your inquiries. Again, feel free to email me anytime. My email, bkjennings@mccnab.edu. Have a great day. Thank you so much for your time.